Throughout history, the concepts of disease, war, famine, and death have always instilled fear in humanity, from the dawn of time to the present day. These four concepts have even appeared in the biblical event known as Judgment Day, depicted as creatures referred to as the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Surely, many of us have heard the phrase Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse at least once, especially those who are fans of films, books, or public art. Rarely has any content in the Bible been explored as much as this. Today's video from Tales of Mythology Journal will bring the answer just for you. The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse are symbolic figures originating from Christianity, appearing in the final book of the New Testament called Revelation, also known as the Book of Revelation. This book recounts the visions of St. John about Judgment Day, or what could be seen as God's message about the world's final destruction. According to this vision, when evil and decadence reach their peak and humanity can no longer be redeemed, God will pass judgment on mankind by destroying the world, paving the way for a brighter future under His guidance. The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse appear in chapter 6 of Revelation. This chapter mentions a book in the right hand of God, sealed with 7 seals. When an angel opens the first 4 seals, 4 living creatures ride on 4 horses of different colors: white, red, black, and pale green. These 4 creatures are called the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Although there are various interpretations, these 4 horsemen are commonly regarded as symbols of conquest, war, famine, and death. Their appearance heralds the onset of calamities upon the earth, and humanity receives God's judgment through these calamities as atonement for their sins. The first horseman, often depicted as riding a white horse and carrying a bow, symbolizes conquest or the spread of diseases. Some scholars interpret the white horse as representing Christ's conquest or the Holy Spirit. In 1866, the theologian Winpain suggested that the white horseman represents those who oppose Christ or resist God and the prophets. However, in popular culture, the first horseman, or the white horseman, is still commonly recognized as a symbol of conquest or pestilence. In the subsequent passage in chapter 6 of Revelation, the second horseman is described as riding a fiery red horse and wielding a great sword. The red horseman represents war, with his red color symbolizing bloodshed and conflict. He initiates internal conflicts, contrasting with the conquest brought by the first horseman. Some interpretations suggest that the red horseman represents the suppression of dissent within Christianity or the division of empires. Moving on to the third horseman. When the third seal is opened, a black horse appears, and its rider holds a pair of scales in his hand. The black horseman represents famine, leading to scarcity and inflation of food prices. The voice from among the 4 creatures speaks of barley and wheat, but warns not to harm the oil and wine, indicating that while grains become scarce, luxury items remain unaffected. This is believed to symbolize the oppression of the ruling class, where luxury items are abundant, while essential food becomes inaccessible to the poor. Lastly, with the opening of the 4th seal, a pale green horse appears, and its rider is named Death, followed by Hades. The pale horseman symbolizes death and brings with him various forms of destruction, including plagues, famine, and wild animals. Although he is not explicitly described as wielding any weapons, many illustrations depict him carrying a scythe, a symbol of death. The pale green color of his horse represents decay or decomposition. The phrase, "They were given power over a fourth of the earth to kill by sword, famine, and plague, and by the wild beasts of the earth," is often interpreted to refer to death. However, some interpretations suggest that this applies to all 4 horsemen. The 4 horsemen of the Apocalypse are embodiments of the calamities humanity must endure. The first horseman represents conquest or pestilence, leading to war and eventually famine, followed by death, which collects the casualties left behind by conquest, war, and famine. The sequential appearance of these 4 horsemen brings destruction upon those who must bear God's judgment. Throughout history, various interpretations and depictions of the 4 horsemen of the Apocalypse have emerged in literature, art, and popular culture. With such a highly symbolic figure, there are countless layers of meaning to be explored, and interpretations vary widely. Disease, war, famine, and death have always been dreaded calamities from ancient times to the present day, and the perspective of Christianity is that the four horsemen of the apocalypse will bring